We have brand new Star Wars to talk about, and brand new Star Wars that we all pretty much loved. So I want to kick off the conversation.
Full spoilers again. Please leave.
This is your last warning.
Last chance. We have all the things, all the secrets. We're gonna spoil it. So get out of here.
You've been warned.
You've been warned.
Now I want to talk just to kick off because there's a lot of stuff to dig into here, but. A lot of new characters got introduced in this film. And I want to know from you guys, what did you think worked the best and who was your favorite new character?
I really loved Adam Driver as Kylo Ren. I thought he was a fantastic villain, probably one of the most complex characters we've seen, if not the most complex other than Anakin, Darth Vader. I loved just how, pissy he was. He would throw these forced temper tantrums. And the first time that happened, I was like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted out of this character. I like that he's very flawed. He's trying to fight to be on the dark side, which we haven't necessarily seen before. We really have seen people trying to avoid that. And I think, there's a question about whether or not he's redeemable about, again, spoilers, when he kills his father, Han Solo, two huge things. I know. But yeah, that's him trying to go past the point of no return. I think, we've seen so many shades of gray in him.
The point of no return. Sorry. Throwing Phantom of the Opera references in here. Sorry.
For me, it'll be Kylo Ren and Rey. I mean, Kylo Ren, like you said, there was a lot of things about him that were different to this series. Just the idea, that he is a bad guy who is fighting the goodness within him from the get-go. It's one thing with the, there's still good in you, Darth Vader thing, but there's another thing that he's this sort of damaged, sad, sometimes pathetic, young guy who is so desperately wants to be what this thing he thinks he's supposed to be, and yet it's not his nature, and he seems really screwed up. And I also like that him just sort of trashing stuff, and just there's sort of a spoiled, pissed off kid there that really worked, and it could have just come off as what the hell is going on, but he was also dangerous.
I love that they played into that too. There's that one scene where he's flipping out and there are stormtroopers
they
walking
stop.
And they just turn around and walk.
Great beat. That was a great beat. And because you get the idea, this is happening again. Freaking Kylo Ren again.
I wonder how many stormtroopers have died by his blade just from being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Well, I guess he's following Darth Vader's.
But it's funny because they played with our expectations in that scene when the guy comes to give him the bad news. He's going to kill him, but instead he starts trashing everything. Again, it's just he's trying to emulate something that he's not, and that was really interesting.
You said Rey, though.
And then Rey,
Daisy Ridley, Virtual Unknown.
Crushed it.
Yes.
Crushed it. So cool.
Yeah.
Such a great heroine. From the first time we see her scavenging, just she had me. And I thought that she is a character unlike any that we've seen before in a Star Wars movie. Very capable, very athletic, very much can survive on her own. Why did you like her?
You said a lot of it. I mean, just liked her from the get-go. Like sort of her spirit. Loved when Finn went to sort of save her and she'd already beaten up the guys. I don't know. There was just something really innately likable about Daisy Ridley, which you kind of got the impression of when she was just doing press. But yes, you saw it in the movie because none of us had seen her in anything. And then, they earned, the moment when she makes the lightsaber fly to her, which was probably the biggest cheer that wasn't related to seeing someone we already loved in my audience. That was such a great moment.
The best thing about that scene for me was that the second that saber went in the snow, you knew it was coming back to her. And you were just anticipating, and it paid off. And when she lit that thing up, it was that's the scene I got the most emotional about in the movie, actually, where I was like, oh, hell yeah, we're seeing the birth of this new hero, really. And, she is diametrically opposed to evil. And I think that was just super powerful, and it was just nice to see. It was just nice to see somebody new be a Jedi, we finally are oh, cool, a Jedi that isn't going to get killed in the ring in 3 seconds.
right.
Somebody who's going to really carry forward in the series and be an important character. And she just was she was warm and sort of affable the entire time, athletic, like you said, just really all the things that you need to be. And she was great. But I want to say, BB-8 for me.
Oh my God,
every
BB-8.
time.
It might be my wife's pick too, by the way.
Every time BB-8 was the best animal, person, robot thing ever, because you could ascribe your own feelings onto him, but also the I don't know what you call it, remote control acting. The remote control acting, whoever was
which is a new Oscar category.
was so good. Like just like they got the mannerisms down.
Yeah.
It was timed perfectly. When he thinks that Poe Dameron dies and goes like rolling away, you're just like,
Crushes your
His
heart.
head goes dips down.
you're like, little guy, come on.
right.
And,
And when Poe is alive, and he's
Yeah.
like freaking out. My moment was like when he sees R2 for the first time, both like
Yeah.
then and then when R2 comes to life, I'm like, you're just like a little baby cat, and it's a big cat.
right.
it was.
I love you.
I feel like anybody who has a pet will relate to
Yeah.
BB-8, but also like he captured the magic of the droids from the first movie. Not the droids, really, R2-D2, because C-3PO, let's face it, has always been kind of grating and kind of a foil, and
But also is portrayed as a annoying person purposely.
right,
That's, yeah.
exactly. So BB-8 is not that.
Yeah.
BB-8 is this embodiment of good and is mixing with the right crew. Like,
Yeah.
got a lot of good people around him. What did you guys think of Poe?
I thought Poe was great. I know he's not in a lot of the movie, but he had some of the funniest moments. I mean, actually one of the earliest funny moments in the movie, which is when he is taken prisoner and he has back-to-back some great lines. The first being do I go first? You go first? And then he makes almost a meta joke about, I can't quite understand you with the mask. Oscar Isaac is a great actor, and so, the character wasn't sort of really a main character. I have a feeling we'll get to know him more in the other movies, but when he was on screen, I liked him a lot, and I thought that him and Finn, we haven't talked about either, had great chemistry together. Like, the fact that they sort of had an instant rapport, I thought the two actors really sold that sort of buddy-buddy nature.
I can't believe we haven't talked about Finn, because he is the person who grounds this movie and makes you care about it, like it gets the first moments and carries it through, like the enthusiasm that John Boyega has for this role is just super infectious and sets the tone for everything.
Like sort of challenging arc too, that he is defecting because these evil people in the First Order are just too evil for him. I love that. That's like a really rough start to the movie. Like, it is very dark. It is very PG-13 from that opening, slaughter. So for him to go along with just this wild ride, like, this is such an exciting adventure for him, I think is so great. And it's funny seeing, on the press tour, his rapport that he has with Harrison Ford in real life it's just exactly how Finn is with Han Solo in the movie. And I love that he's calling him Solo. And he's
Hey, big deal.
Yeah.
And I love that.
And I like also that Finn is scared, and his instinct is to run a lot, and yet we're not like, what a wimp, what a coward. It's like we kind of get that he's just overwhelmed. He was suddenly kind of faced with the reality of what he was doing, and he's just like, I just want to get the hell out of here. But we also see that there's an innate goodness in him, and he does, even though ultimately Rey doesn't need his help, he does run to help her in that part and goes to rescue her. They had a great chemistry too, and so Boyega was perfect in that role.
There's like a heroism to him from the moment he decides that he's not gonna support this cause, but then he really puts himself out there to rescue Poe.
Yeah.
Like, upon meeting him, like, essentially once for a little while, he's like, okay, this is the right thing to do. He says that direct line, this is the right thing to do.
Undercut by the "you need a pilot," which was a great beat as well.
I mean, I like that, but I actually think it is also, he's like, this is the right thing to do. And then, both that Kylo Ren fight in the forest is a hero moment for both of them, because he's the one who first takes it up and is like, I'm going to challenge this guy. I mean, he wielded a lightsaber against what you're assuming is some stormtrooper he knows,
right.
like in that other scene. But he's taking it up against somebody who's definitely had a little bit more experience with a lightsaber.
And has the Force.
Yeah. And he clearly didn't.
Right.
And then super, up in the air at the end. We'll talk about the questions that remain, but, he basically got his spine scorched out or something.
Yeah, but I mean, if we can come back from losing our hands
do you know how far they've evolved Bacta in
I was
the 30
gonna say,
years?
I really wanted him in a Bacta tank.
Because
Some things
in the books they have Bacta patches, and there's Bacta ointment, and so Bacta pills at this point. You just pop some Bacta.
We've
you're good
talked
to go.
a lot about the heroes, and I think Kylo Ren is obviously the standout villain, but Poe Dameron was sort of a one-dimensional hero in a way that totally worked, and I really liked General Hux as a one-dimensional villain. That really worked for me. I read read someone
Good
comment,
Nazi speechifying.
Yeah, that he's a sneer in a suit,
Yeah.
and I love that sort of way of describing him.
I didn't need him to be more than what he was.
Exactly.
Like a lot of people were like, "Oh, there's no depth to that character." I'm like, "He's evil, man. He's
he'll
like
come back.
that
He
Nazi."
escaped.
right,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
I will say, as much as I loved what we did see of Captain Phasma, I know this is the characters we loved. I sort of loved Phasma before I went into the movie, and I was sad we didn't get more with her, and that she sort of was just like knocked out, and that was it. But I think we're definitely going to get more of her in the next
I do too. It's always difficult because it's like, she became such a centerpiece of marketing and whatnot. There's posters with her. Yet JJ was like, she's only in the movie a little bit. Still, the amount of sort of pre-hype she had made me wish she had one action beat. Because really she just says, kill all those guys. Like, she orders some stormtroopers to do something, but she never even fires a gun, I think. So I do feel like she needed the one beat, and I do think in the sequels, she'll get more.
Possible maybe that for time they shot something and they're like, that's left on the cutting room floor, and they were upset about it too,
Right.
Kathleen Kennedy has said that she's going to play a factor in the series going forward, and if they threw her in the tank in the garbage chute or not, like, she survived it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think all the villains survived it, even though you don't see them. Like,
I think so
Right.
too.
So, okay, well, let's move on, because I think we've covered off on characters. I was also a little, upset about the underuse of her, but like, I think she's a Boba Fett character. You get the menace of her in this movie, and then will pay off later.